We got an interview with Mark Weiser of Nature's Defense, all on this edition of the Pest Geek Podcast.
Pull out your hose and grab your can. We're about to integrate another Pest Geek Podcast. Hi, everybody. Frank Hernandez here, and welcome to the Pest Geek Podcast, bringing you the latest information on pests, products, and politics from today's leading industry sources to help you start, manage, and grow your pest control business.
Hey, good morning, and welcome back to the daily edition of the Pest Geek Podcast. I am your host, Frank Hernandez, here every day discussing all things pest. I've got an interview today with Jeff McGovern, interviews Mark Weiser of Nature's Defense, and be discussing the science behind it, how it works, and how he came about it. And this is one of the reasons why I'm excited about this product, because it's one of the few products out there that are naturally derived. They're not organic as far as being certified, OMRI certified or anything like that, but there is a real science behind this product compared to the 25B products that I've seen and I've tested and I've used. And not to take anything away from them, but remember that I spoke to you in a couple of podcasts back about the future of 25B in the being able to understand the components inside 25B products. And what happens is he's been able to find those components and then amplify them. And he's going to explain that. But I want you to remember that is the next step of those who are really, really, really serious into the science of making a better natural product, is really doing a lot of field testing and testing products in the field with specific types of pests, with specific types of components to create something that really, really works. And this is a really, really exciting product for the industry and for me in particular, because this is something I've been looking for and trying to test and trying to use. And I've been doing some testing with other products for rodent control. And we're still just in that process of testing. So I'll probably be testing for about a year before I really, really, really launch something that I feel comfortable with. But it's a really, really exciting time for us to be in this industry because of all this new technology that is coming out, that is eco-friendly, that solves problems for people, and makes a real significant impact and not on the environment. So remind you, if you want to join the conversation, pestgeekpodcast.com, Facebook, Pest Geek Podcast Listeners Group, YouTube. We actually got a video of Mark when I was in the field with him on YouTube. So, we just did a little short little video so you can see who Mark Weiser is and you can see who I am. Most people have no idea what I look like, and I do have a face for radio. So without further ado, Jeff and Mark, hey, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Frank. This is Jeff McGovern, the Pest Coach, and I had the pleasure today of interviewing Mr. Mark Weiser from Nature's Defense. He's the gentleman that started this whole revolution when it comes to repelling rodents and putting them into places we can control them and protect property, people, and the food that they eat. And so with that, Mark, I'll turn it over to you. And how did you ever get started with repelling animals?
Jeff, that's an interesting story. And actually, I did not start with rodents, but I actually started in the outdoor industry in working with white-tailed deer, and always fascinated how deer use scent to communicate. So through many years of study, realizing that, if I put out an attractant, I can bring deer right to this spot. Or if I wanted to funnel him and deter him from going in a certain spot, I could put out certain scents. So I kind of figured that out fairly quickly. But then I realized there was a major challenge. With weather conditions and all that, liquid scents, which was pretty much used in that industry, were of little value. If it was real hot, they'd evaporate. Liquids absorbs into the ground, it freezes, so there's a lot of challenges. So with that, through multiple years of working with it, I developed a way to granulate liquid scent. And I actually wrote and filed a patent for that. And that kind of took the scent technology to another level, because now I could make the material last much longer. It wasn't affected by the weather. And boy, the results went through the roof. Whether, again, I'm trying to deter them from going into certain spots, funneling them to me where I wanted them to go. And that was really the start of how this whole thing started, and then just kept progressing into working with other animals to this day, now mostly with rodents.
You know, and it's a surprise to me, too, because I remember when I met you, the rodent side was very, very small. What really prompted you to make the change? Because it's made a radical difference for us in pest control.
You know, the nice thing is, that's a funny question, because it was actually you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And the story behind that is I met Jeff at a trade show, and we had this technology that really worked. Our research was there. We had a university study and proved the concept. And just happened by chance, you came by our booth and said, there's a need for that in the industry. And I said, well, this is what we have, and sent you the study. And long story short, I said, give me your worst problem that you know that has a rodent issue. And from that, if we could solve that problem, then we can pretty much solve it anywhere.
Yeah, and, you know, I've told the story of the meat plant quite a bit, and it was absolutely remarkable. And I know when you came to visit the first time, we'd been set up for a while, and in the midst of all this success, and we had the general manager telling us, we've never seen anything do this before. The QA manager was going the same way. Even the USDA inspector was shocked and amazed that we had all this success with a simple amount of product. But how does it actually work? What's it doing to the animal?
You know, that's a good question. And really how it works is we use a lot of natural materials, organic spices, but it's not necessarily the spices within that do the work or the repelling. We figured out over time there's components within the materials that if we can amplify them, that we learned that animals just do not want to be around it. So after multiple years, I've developed a technology on how we can expose and amplify the things within those natural materials that when an animal smells them, it throws up a flag. They don't want to be around it. And literally after multiple times of coming up against that, trying to get into a building or whatever, it will actually throw them into a totally different pattern and keep them away from what you're trying to protect.
And, you know, it's funny because some of the test sites we have, we made the applications of product, and what ended up happening was over time, we had nothing coming in. The young weren't coming back. They hadn't even been exposed to it. Why was that happening? Are the young animals being taught?
You know, that's another thing that we actually do teach. And I've learned that through working with white-tailed deer a lot in particular, that it's all learned behavior. The young learn from the adults. So as they, are in a comfortable area, if rats are in a comfortable area and they have young, and guess what? They learn from the adults where to go, where to get food, where to nest, all those things. And all animals are like that. So it is learned behavior, and our product is designed to break that behavior to where it really targets adults more than anything else. It creates a fear, an uncomfortableness with the adults. The adults leave, the young ones follow, and that's why we're getting such good results.
Well, as it stands right now, we're seeing the results, and it's been very successful. What forms does the product come in for us right now in pest control? How can we buy it?
Right now, you can get the product in a 4-ounce packet, which lasts 30 days, a totally 100% weatherproof packet, so it can be used inside and outside to drive rodents away or keep them from coming into buildings when you protect entry points. It comes in a loose granule, and the loose granule is designed to go around the outside of the building, right along tight against the wall where they would use as runways. We take away those runways, And now we are in the process of introducing a liquid shutdown. And the reason we do the liquid, it's sometimes to get to areas that you can't reach with the granule. It may be tubing or piping that they may be using. And we're able to spray those around dumpsters, things like that you can't attach a box to or the granule to, and it's working really well.
Well, as a PMP, pest control operator, when I go to a site, can I just put this in the bait stations I already have? Just take out the food and put in the packets? Can I do that?
You know what? You really can't, and there's a reason for it. The packet is designed to have airflow around it. So our little housing box that we use is the perfect tool to put a packet inside of it. It keeps it up off the ground. It's vented. So whenever it's up off the ground and vented like that, you get perfect air circulation through the packet and allows you to have maximum efficacy of the packet. If you put it in most bait stations, you're not going to get that type of airflow. It's going to lay flat in there. You're going to lose half the potency, and it's highly not recommended.
Well, that makes perfect sense. Now, in using this product, if I'm going out to a rodent account, what am I looking for as a professional? What do I need to identify as far as where to place it? What's the best way for me to do that?
The best way to do it, and the biggest challenge with a lot of properties, and matter of fact, we were just on one today.
Right,
they're so large in there, it's like you can be overwhelmed by how do I treat such a large building and with multiple rooms. And really, our goal is to identify the most concentrated sign of the rodent first within a big building. So if it has multiple rooms, we're just going to focus on those small areas where the concentration is heavy. We're going to gain control of that, usually within a week or two. You will drive them out, and it's up to us to kind of follow them a little bit. A lot of them will try to get out of the building and stay out because we're also treating the outside. So once we drive them out, they're not going to want to come back in. And then sometimes you move them around a little bit at the beginning. We just usually follow them with the packet, place them in those areas where we've moved them to, and boom, within a few days or a week, they're gone.
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey with this product, and you're absolutely right. The site we were at today was a nightmare. Mm-hmm. And yet it seemed like with the right type of placement, and you are going back to work with these folks, they're going to get rid of them. And that brings up another point. A lot of times manufacturers, people that own companies, are not going into the field. You're going into the field all the time.
Yes.
Why are you doing that? Why? I mean, you show so much interest to this industry. It's remarkable. But most folks don't offer that.
Yeah. Well, I think it goes back to my training when I was young. I've learned most of what I have about scent and communicating with animals just by being in the field. You can read and study, and which I have, all you want. You learn more real life in the field, and then being able to work with professionals, biologists and doctors and all those that have field experience, and you go and you learn so much from them. There's every place I go to, no matter what, they're all different, and I'm always learning something new. I take it back to our program, and it's just going to continue to make what we do even better.
Well, it certainly has made a difference on every single site that I've been involved in where I've seen it work. And I guess all I can do is hope that you keep making more products. Now, as far as the species of rodents right now, am I right? We can handle roof rats, we can handle Norway rats, we can handle mice.
Yes.
What other rodents will this handle? I've been told it can handle squirrels. It moves them.
Yes, we work with a lot of professionals that use it for, driving squirrels from attics to digging up bulbs in yards to chewing up wiring on vehicles. We've had applications with great success in all those areas.
Yes. And I've seen most of this success, folks. This product is everything I'd always hoped for with regards to a rodent repellent, because it allows us to perform a full process of service for the client. It's not just repelling the rodents, it's putting them into zones where we can get far better control, because sometimes we have to eliminate them, we have to do some killing. And this also allows us to be a little bit greener in the way we service. because we can use trapping stations, we can use automatic traps, and we can get population reduction and protect our structures like nothing else I've ever had before. And Mark, what's the best way to reach you personally? If a PMP would like to contact you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
They can contact me through my personal email, which is mweiser@natures-defense.com, or you can call. We have a toll-free number that you can call, 866-947-9898, and call into that line, and all these calls, any pest control operator, they'll all get directed to me.
Well, Mark, I really appreciate your time today. And by the way, folks, we had a blast this morning in the field looking at a serious mouse issue. And I got to tell you, we have a client that's already feeling relieved because they're going to be getting some reduction in population in some very sensitive areas. And so with that, Mark, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate the time.
And Frank, we'll give it back to you. Take care, folks, and be looking for another podcast next week.
Hey, folks, I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. And until next time, I will see you again tomorrow. Have a great one, folks.
Thank you for listening to the Pest Geek Podcast. If you have enjoyed the Pest Geek Podcast, please give us a rating, write a review, or subscribe to the channel. You can join the Pest Geek Society by visiting pestgeekpodcast.com. Thank you for listening. See you next time.